Hello and welcome, Renata. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited for this conversation.
Me too. I love when I get to speak to people about my woo-woo stuff. I come from a very academic background, by the way, and I am very academic family. And so for a long time, I didn't have these conversations. So I feel like anytime I get to bring it up with people who have real life experience with it is another fun day for me.
Same. Yeah, no, same. I can relate to part of your story there for sure.
How did you find your tool of astrology, and what other things might you use to bring in a more understanding for yourself in your life?
How much time do we have?
I know.
Shoot.
It's
Okay.
like my whole life is
Um,
about this.
okay, I'm not even gonna, I guess I won't even go because that will take like literally 10 minutes, and that's the cold nose version. However, okay, through my own personal healing journey and my own, I would say, struggling with my own mental health in my late teens, early 20s. I was in university and I was going to completely take a different route. Like I was going to go into a neuroscience, and then my body shut down. I was struggling with IBS, anxiety, depression, which transformed into an eating disorder because I felt like my life was out of control. And as a way to control my life, that was like something that I did to try to survive. And just like my hormones were a mess, you name it. And when I went to seek conventional care for what I was experiencing, mental health, talking about mental health back then, I was like 16 years ago, was taboo. Never mind astrology.
Right, right.
like not a chance. And it was just this intuitive knowing that I had, that what they were presenting me or the options, I was like, no, that doesn't sit well. I just didn't like the solutions I was being provided through that model. And I stumbled actually across naturopathic medicine shortly thereafter. And I was like, this makes complete sense to me. Like, where has this been all my life? And it was like this remembering, it was this knowing. And again, I was a very pros and cons person, very analytically minded, that I was in neuroscience. I was studying to be a psychiatrist and work with the brain. And here I am being like, yeah, no, like, I don't think this is the route for me. Where's this natural medicine been all my life? And I actually ended up enrolling in naturopathic medicine school, and I became a naturopathic doctor. And that's how
Wow.
this journey really started. And through my journey in naturopathic medicine school, I was introduced to the woo-woo world. We still learned a lot about like the physiology, the anatomy, the biochemistry of the body. There was a very strong science base rooted in reality. But then when I was exploring my own healing with myself as I was simultaneously going to school, I came across the chakras and Reiki and tarot and this whole new world. And as I later explored my career as a naturopath, I was like, I thought I healed myself, resolved my experience of anxiety, depression, my IBS. I struggled with like a lot of hormonal things, and I'm in my career and I thought I made it. And I thought this was it. This is my life. And then
Yeah.
existential crisis 2 came. My body started to fall apart again. And I was getting a lot of patients that were out of alignment in their life. Like, yes, they were struggling with these physical symptoms, but I was like, I can't acupuncture you out of your shit job. Like, I can't, no
Yeah.
free diet's going to fix the fact that your soul is dying. Do you get what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And then I was simultaneously feeling that the universe is like, we actually want you to go like kind of like full woo. This was just like a stepping stone for your journey.
I'm just
And
gonna walk you through.
that was not easy for me to accept because I already felt different and ostracized going into natural medicine at the time. Now I've all of a sudden want to explore this like spiritual pathway, and I want to help people align with their soul. Come on. And I went to school for 1,000 years, and I dished out a lot of money to get there. And I was wrestling with what I should do and what I should abide by and what I should just continue to focus on, even though my whole being was like, yeah, we don't care. You're meant to go here now. And through that process of getting in my realignment into where I am today, I then stumbled across astrology. And it was like, oh my God, this is a fascinating tool that better help me understand myself and just my experience as a human skin bag, being a channel for my perception or my experience of the collective consciousness. And from there, it was just like, I now need to pursue this. So it was really through my own, I know I had to give you that background because it wasn't just, I was like, oh, I was always into it, but
Yeah.
because I was searching for how do I move forward in my life, and how do I actually start working with people to help with their soul. And aside from the coaching and the Reiki and stuff that I started to do, astrology was just a tool that I stumbled across. And when it made sense to me, I was like, it was just, again, that knowing where it was like, you need to go here. And it wasn't like a rational response. It was just like, okay, I'm going to do this now. So
Yeah.
that's literally how it happened.
That is so cool because I think that people think that, again, people are either raised, and this true for some people, people are raised like in a spiritualist type of environment, or a lot of people do, they start really young and they've been doing
Mm.
this for a long time. That's not my story. And it's so funny because a lot of those things that you spoke to is actually some of the speakers I brought in. We brought in a mental balance person. She's not a doctor or anything like that,
Yeah.
but she has a story that brought her to her work that allows her to tap into that.
Mhm.
And my mentor is actually into period coaching, and she has a period school, coaching school. And it's about hormones and cycles, and how are we allowing our nature bodies to inform us in our ways of being. And so it's like a lot of those things that you brought in as tools as you went to get back into balance are different ways that people do find out what their bodies came
Yeah.
to do, right? And yeah, so that when we get to the astrology piece, it's really this amazing map, right? Because thousands and thousands of years of wisdom and experience are in these descriptors and the different ways of being human. And so it gives us a framework to understand that, oh, we're not doing human wrong, right?
Yeah.
What are some of the crazy ahas that you hear from people when they recognize, wait, how does that show up there in this piece of paper, right?
Yeah, I find so when I do readings with people, like
Yeah.
so I infuse like a from what I've heard from what people say based on their experiences getting readings by me, and this is people who've gotten readings from many different astrologers. They're like, you put it in a way that's very practical and tangible, and you also called me out on my shit. Like you're like, this is where you have to learn to decondition. This is a lesson you have to master. And I'm very much pro accountability and responsibility. I know we can sometimes joke and use astrology as, well, that's just my blah, blah, blah happening now. And I'm like, and we still need to take responsibility for how we respond. So even though that's how consciousness moves through you, and I say there's a gone right aspect and then there's the shadow aspect, it's not necessarily it's a striving for perfection. It's more, oh, I know when I'm in and out of alignment based on how I experience consciousness is through the map of the stars. So I find people are like, wow, you really pointed on things that no one else in my life knows. So you really confirm things about myself that I chronically second guess. And you also made me make peace with the fact that this is where I want to go. And all my conditioning keeps talking me out of what I know in my heart and soul is to be right for me.
Yes.
So I just find I'm not really telling any people anything really new. If anything, I am pointing out or confirming what they already know about themselves. And I also don't think if you don't have your astrology chart ready, you won't be able to fulfill your purpose either. So I don't subscribe to that either. I think there's a lot of tools and ways to get to your alignment. I just find that for people, it's been very confirmatory, and it's given them that confidence and that permission to be like, yeah, damn, I keep chronically going against what feels aligned with me
Yeah.
because of what society told me, our cultural conditioning, what I think I should abide by, even though it goes against every fiber of my being.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
really what people experience. And I say, okay, well, now you got to apply the astrology, what I told you. It's not, now you got to integrate it. So it's the integration piece that I say is so important. And that is trial and error. You got to play around with